It is very important for us to be able to measure our KPIs and outcomes to be able to provide the care that we can to the community clients. Benchmarking it against the industry standards allows us to also look at the improvements that we can make and what we need to further invest into. For instance, the clinical indicators are one of the bigger ones, and consumer experiences are really relative to the clients that we currently look after. So it is very vital for our industry, and QPS has been really great with the platform that is available for us, and it's very intuitive, and yeah, very happy with it.
Where do you think you would be in terms of time management if you didn't have QPS tools to work with?
So if you were managing it without the QPS platform, it will be all manual entries. It will be all manual analysis and data keeping. So that will add up to a lot of burden, especially into human resources. And also the ability to keep the data and making sure we reconcile it. So it would have added significant amount of time and to our staffing and hours, or even looking at the data. Because from where I look at it is there's a way we can compare. Um, and also the ability to look at the back reports as well. QPS has a very great platform, and the analysis they conduct and provide to us, I can look back 2 years, 3 years, and be able to compare my KPIs to that, and that is very that is a great.
Yeah, and I suppose also not only comparing it to your own performance, but other organizations in the space. That must be a handy thing to have too.
Indeed, yeah. So home care has been, as we're going through a lot of changes, supported home is coming as well. Um, it allows us to be able to envision what is coming and where we sit, and also be the ability to basically compare our services to the wider community out there and the providers, and also look for new opportunities. Because at times when we do the analysis after every quarter, so currently we are submitting all the KPIs through GPS, um, allows us to go back to the drawing board and be able to look at what has worked, what hasn't worked. So that has been substantially important and vital for us.
And also, I imagine having that peace of mind knowing that your data is accurate must be reassuring.
That's right. Yes, QPS works in a great way because not only that we submit the data and you take it, okay, as data is submitted. So there's a second layer of eyes which will look at the data and say, look, perfect, looks good, happy with it. There's not much variances. But the first line of defense is great as well when we are inputting the data into the portal. So it shows you the live variances and prompts you. Look, it's way too out from what you submitted last time, and it gives you the prompt to basically go back and say, okay, maybe I have entered the wrong information. Maybe we haven't collected the right bit. So that is really really exemplary, and I'm really a big fan of that.
And usability and simplicity. How much of a part does that play in time savings and efficiency?
Great deal. So with a lot of reporting, and every passing day we get to report on new stuff. It is important that the way we collect data and input data, it's simple, efficient, and not time consuming. And in that regard, QPS has come up with really good platforms, and especially the new national pilot program for home care. I was really amazed and really impressed with the time frame that they come up with this portal. Um, it when I used it was really really great. And every time when we add the data, we have ability to either upload a file or be able to go and visually and do it. So that user friendliness from QPS has been quite good. Yes.
It's great. It's great that you had such a good experience with that home care app pilot. Do you think, just out of interest, were all of those indicators that were chosen relevant for assessing quality of care and services for providers?
In my opinion, um, the two data collection we collected the admin data, which was a missed visit and care planning, very much relevant. But few the survey included some questions which was more pertaining to quality of life that some home care providers don't have control over. For instance, are you always out of pain? So if someone is having level two only cleaning and domestic and gardening, your provider doesn't have a control over it. And also your provider is only there for 8 to 10 hours a week. And it's not their responsibility, or in other words, they're not there to manage the pain always. So some of the questions were very broad and it wasn't targeted to providers' performance. So that's where I think they can do better.
I was gonna ask that. There's only so much control a provider has over quality of
Indeed.
life.
Yeah, some of the questions were, are you happy? How supported do you feel? How connected do you feel? Now, that is not a right measurement of how the provider is doing. So I believe since it's still a pilot, we have a lot of feedback that we can give to the consultants. Yes.
But given the amount of data required, do you think the timeframes were reasonable for the pilot?
MyVista is a small provider, and see, we can work on short notices, no problem as it is. But through the forums, I've heard from other clients, other providers as well, that it was a bit tricky for them. Uh, Particularly the clients, providers who were managing their data on paper, so they weren't able to gather any information. So it was all manual, and that's even putting more strain on them as when it comes to human hours. So yeah.
Another good reason to have a benchmarking provider like QPS. And there's also a lot of data required for consumer surveys. Do you think that this has an impact on consumers, these surveys? Do you think in the future they might be more and more reluctant to participate in these surveys?
I think it depends how simple these surveys are. So we're looking at the clients who are in 80s and 90s. So clients who are staying in the community, they're not technologically savvy, or they do not have that technological advanced, say, equipment even, very resistance to go online and do stuff. So when it comes to collection of data, and I think it's going to be challenging because we also do our annual survey and so on. So the percentage of the people who are actually participating in it, it's quite low. So if we could make it a simpler, uh, QPS done a great job on making it very simple and clicks and so on. But it's just the amount we are collecting. I think that will be more important. Another thing I found out with the older clients is if you're using um, the tools that we measure the inputs on, for instance, agree, not agree, strongly agree, these are, you know, we can maybe use a more simpler version. In other words, agree, neutral, disagree. So if you put more into it, there's more options. And a lot of times, the wording that they don't understand properly. So I had some experience in the past as well. We ask a question and it was, do you feel or do you not feel? So that can actually, the way they comprehend can change.
Yeah, you can have decision anxiety when there's too many options available.
It is.
Uh,
That's right.
and simple is always the best in
That's
an
right.
approach to anything. Yeah. I was also just wondering, just with your general experience with QPS, how do you feel with your communication with the organization and the feedback you get and just your interaction with the people at QPS?
UPS has been very spot on, in other words, because every time we get in touch with someone, we get a reply straight away. Very prompt. So any queries that we might have, it gets resolved very quickly. So that is, I'm very grateful for to be able to partner with them to put the data out. Um, but team is very helpful and professional in dealing with any inquiries. I'm very happy. Let's put it that way. And because a provider who works in the community, it's all about customer services. And when we get to experience it for ourselves from other organizations and providers, it is a great help, and it does give us confidence that in future, when the quality indicators does come to home care, it will be a very thorough affair and will be very easy and consistent.
It's very important, isn't it, to when we're in a care industry to all be helping each other and moving each other forward. So it's great to be partnering with you and working together for a common goal.
Yes, thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
I think the same as well. So look, um, I'm from a generation where we love to do things easily. So
Yeah.
we don't want to put too much labor into it. And very first time I used QPS last year, I was like, click, 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 perfect, easy, easy, easy. Let's see how we can make these things even easier. Uh, but yeah, it has actually come to a point where I'm thinking, that's the best actually you can get in the community art in the KPIs format. So it's
Yeah.
really, really great.
It has a good flow on throughout the process and onto the consumer.
That is exactly
Yeah.
right.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Manny. It's been great speaking with you.
Thank you, Danny.
Um,
Thanks.
speak to you again sometime, I hope.
Great. Thank you. You have a great day. Thanks.
Thank you.